Our conversation this morning, we've really spent time on our introduction, but let's get straight to it now. Nigeria operates a constitutional democracy with a federal system of government. The government has three tiers: federal, state, and local, each of which has three arms: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. These three arms have their separate duties and functions clearly delineated, with the legislature tasked with the representation of the people, passing of effective legislation, and oversight of government.
Of the three arms, only the legislature and the executive are elected into office, having won the majority. While the executive is charged with executing the laws made by the legislature, its role within a federal system of government is no less important or no more important than its two sister arms.
Yet, that appears not to be the case. From the campaign period to after elected lawmakers, governors and the president assume their duties. Most of the focus and scrutiny seems to be on the executive, with many unaware of who represents their constituencies at the state and national houses of assembly.
For the 2023 polls, 1,101 candidates are currently vying for the 109-seat Senate, and 3,122 are vying for the 366-seat House of Representatives, meaning that a total of 4,223 candidates are contesting 469 legislative positions. As our issue of the day, let us look at the legislature as an arm of government and why it continues to be overlooked. And our discussion today will sort of foreground our debate on Thursday, where we're looking at scrutinizing what your would-be lawmakers have in store for you.
All right, and joining us on the line this morning to have this conversation is Olajon, the Executive Director, Act Hub for Sustainable Development Foundation. And he joins us live on the phone line this morning. Good morning to you, Olajon. Yes, good to have you with us on the program this morning. So I'm sure you listened to our intro and like that question that was posed at the very end. Why do you think that the legislative arm of government continues to be overlooked by many, especially approaching the election season?
Thank you very much. I think it's a very simple answer. The answer I always give is the fact that Nigerians are not politically educated. We don't have proper education when it comes to governance. Because just like what the other presenter, Lola Worship, mentioned, that they are as equal as that of executive. They may have different functions, but they are both arms of government that should stand on the same pedestal. And for us, because we believe that because of the poverty that we are experiencing in Nigeria, we believe that it is the executives that are giving us everything that we are getting, like the road, the water, and whatever they use to campaign to them. And they realize that the legislators is as good as they don't have affect implementation of whatever project you want to do in a particular state or at federal level. So I think it is one of the major reasons for me is just education, political education.
Olajon, there seems to be an interference at your end. I don't know if it's the hairpiece or what it is. We just keep hearing a sound. If you can help us fix that so that we can have a smooth conversation this morning.
Okay, no problem. Maybe I should remove the headset.
Yes. All right, we'll get back to him shortly once he gets that sorted so that we can enjoy the conversation this morning. All right, let's try again now.
Okay. Right. I assume he's trying to reestablish connection with us with the hope that when he connects again, the interference is gone. Today, we're looking at the whys of the legislature not being scrutinized as much as the other arms of government, or the other arm of government, actually. Of the three, though they are supposed to be complementary, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, oftentimes you have a misproportionate attention being paid. Good morning. Welcome back, Olajuwon. Can you hear us?
I hope it's better now. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you were saying it's a lack of education,
Yes.
political education, that explains why there's not as much interest paid to the legislature. And we see this not only during campaign period. For example, for right now, in expectation of the 2023 elections in about a month's time, we've seen several town halls being organized for the president, for the post of the presidency or the governorship, but very few have been done for lawmakers representing various constituencies. And even after they are elected, also, there's often not as much interest or criticism of what goes on at the National Assembly as they are passing these laws. So it doesn't just end with campaign period. It continues even when, the lawmakers have assumed their position. But I'm going to quote something said by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's Femi Gbajabiamila, while delivering a lecture last month. He said that it is even more disturbing when you realize that the misunderstanding of the duties of the lawmakers is not as a result of segregation by class or education. That these misunderstandings are widely held, even by those you would expect to know better. As a result, there is a dangerous disconnect between the actual role of the legislature and the expectations by which the individual legislator is assessed and adjudged by the media and the constituents. So he seems to be of the opinion that it is not a function of education or formal education, where you have even the elites who are oblivious of what it is the lawmaker does and what it is they should do. What are your thoughts on his position?
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, when I actually answered your question this time, I first used the word branches, like everything about your life is affected by politics. Will actually understand what they need to understand about the roles of each of the arms of government. Having said that, another thing we need to, when politicians and their genies, when they want to come into office, they are the same sort of people that gives people impression that they are meant to execute projects. Because when they want to come to them for election, because they've not been doing due diligence, they've not been doing what they are supposed to do, they come to the people on the platform of, we are going to do this, we are going to construct road for you, we are going to give you borehole, you are going to, without telling them what their major roles are. And for me, I think it is high time that political parties, INEC, NOA, and government should start looking at educating their own people. And I tell people, when you don't do what you are supposed to do, what you didn't do will haunt you. And that's exactly what is haunting all the legislators. And that's why they were explaining themselves when, like, some months to election, they start saying all these things they are saying. But go and listen to their campaigns when you get to their various communities. They keep making the same mistake and telling people, we are going to give you water, we are going to give you borehole. But instead of telling them, we are going to facilitate so, we are going to push this at the house, not saying that we are going to do. Okay, let me give you a good example. Zonal intervention projects and some of the constituency projects that they have been given at both Senate and those representing us at the House of Reps. Some of them, when you go and check what they are facilitated, they will put their pictures there, put their name there, making people believe that they are the ones that did it, instead of letting them know that we are the ones who have facilitated this. It is not our duty to do projects, but we have been given a slot to nominate projects. And this is where it becomes very, very complicated. You don't want them to know that you only facilitated it. You want them to feel that, yes, I'm the one that did it. Instead of going to them, telling them this is an opportunity for them to educate the people. going to them, consult with them, and talk to them. Ask them what they needed before you nominate anything. But for the politicians, what they do is, okay, yes, what can I do that will make them know that I've actually did something? They will go and nominate whatever they want and bring it to the people, and the people start beating drum and dancing for them. And this is where we have the problem. So it is not that, it is not about education. It is about political consciousness. It is about understanding politics actually determines a lot about our life. If you are educated in the four walls of classroom and you are not an active citizen, you are still not educated. That is what is actually causing all this problem. And for Mr. Speaker that is talking, they are the cause of what they are actually trying to undo.
Right. But who do we assign the job of politically enlightening the citizenry? You say political education is separate from formal education, but in school, we are made to undergo some sort of rudimentary government classes or classes about social studies or government. And yet you find that even students or graduates who have gone through lectures and classes about political education still come out uninformed. So who do we assign the job of politically enlightening the citizens? And how is it that in other countries you have a more active citizenry, politically active citizenry, and in Nigeria you don't? So what are these other countries doing? Some of these other countries that do have a more politically active citizenry, what are they doing that we are not?
When there is accountability, when government is delivering on their promises, then you will want to know who are those in government, what is the role of government, and what they are doing. Like, for example, in America, in other Senate clients, Nigeria is saying anyway, but in other Senate clients, let me use the normal colloquial that we normally use. They deliver on their promises, and the citizens believe that, yes, let's go and vote because it is our civic right. They are not voting because they want water. They are not voting because they want they want roads. They are voting because the government has delivered, and they see voting as their civic right, as their civic responsibility. If Mr. Sam is giving them what they need, then they need to do what they need to do for their country. That is what they do. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. Now, in fact, even the government cannot come to me and tell me that, okay, you have to vote during election, when or you already know that government is actually not delivering what we don't even have a glimpse of what government should look like. Like, for example, government should protect life and property. And today, what do we have? Nothing. Nigerians are dying every day. They are kidnapping people on the road, in places where you even think there should be security, like palace. They kidnap people in the palace. And we said security is one major function of government. Governments are meant to provide infrastructure, social amenities. Today, all Nigerians are presidents on their own. They provide their water, they provide their roads, they provide their education, they provide basically everything in their community. And that is why it is very, very difficult for any Nigeria to recognize any government, because there is no, they don't actually deserve to actually look up to them, because what you are supposed to look up to them for is what you have been providing already. For in other countries, these are people that they work on accountability, they deliver on promises, they deliver value for money. But in Nigeria, they collect tax. There's no value for money. So why do I have to actually look for a government? But for me, I still believe that we also have problem with our education. Just like I want to come down to what you have said also, that education, we are supposed to be educated in school. But what is the value of education in Nigeria? Which curriculum have we been using ever since? We use the same curriculum we have been using for decades. That is a curriculum that are not actually, they don't fit into the modern society anymore. That is the same curriculum we are still using. But for me, I believe that school should do its own part. I remember when we were doing social studies in primary school, they taught us that it is our civic responsibility to vote as a citizen. They also taught us during government in secondary school that we have 3 arms of government. This is what the executive should do. This is what the judiciary should do, and all the rest like that. But remember that education in Nigeria is agberu beso. We just want to read and pass. It is not that we internalize all these things because they are not practical. We don't see all those things that we read in books. It's as if they are happening in heaven. But in those senior clients, as they are saying it in class, you can actually relate them to what is happening in the real life. So the type of education we receive in school will not actually, we can't really internalize it when it comes to political education. And what you ask a question that who should now take up the responsibility? Now that the government knows that they have not done what they are supposed to do, it is the duty of agency saddled with educating, sensitizing citizens to do what they need to do. Like NOA. Sometimes I ask myself, what is the job of NOA in all these things? They are supposed to educate people. They are supposed to emphasize people. What is the role of INEC? In INEC, they have department. That is, I think they call it Voters Education Department. They need to educate people. It is not only when we want to have election, that's when they start doing what they need to do. And also, talking to the political parties, it is not just, this is what we call, part of what we call political ideology. You have like a lay down things to do. It is not that when you want to go for election, that's when you start calling fire because you want to collect money from them. You need to sensitize people. And I think at this point, I've gotten to a point in my life that I think I need to tell people that you can't sit on fence. In America, today, when they give birth to a child, before you know it, the child will have had a kind of alignment, whether Democrat or Republican. It doesn't mean that they will go and get party ID card, but they already have an inclination that this is the type of ideology I want to do. And I think it is high time that Nigerians, we need to start identifying parties and their ideology. And if we don't have parties with ideology, can we form one? Can the educated just to believe that they are educational, they are politically conscious, that those who believe that they are active citizens start forming parties with ideology? You don't have to win the presidency. You don't have to win the governorship position. You can win local government. You can win House of Assembly. You can win and those other ones like that. So I think that's, I think I've said enough on that.
All right. So you organized a town hall for House of Assembly candidates in Ibadan Northeast, I believe. Can you tell us if there was a clear departure from the usual, from experience now? Because you talk about how even those that are going to the legislature also come and campaign like they're going to the executive, because they talk about, oh, I'll do this for you, I'll, bring water to the community, I'll fix your light and all that. So from your experience, from that particular town hall meeting, are things looking different from the usual?
Yeah, thank you. I like that question. Yes, we had situations where, the citizens are there, so they want to impress them because it is we have the other side. No, that's how the old situation is in Nigeria. Because just like what we have been saying, the citizens don't actually understand the job description of these legislators. And the legislators themselves, they want to say what the people want to hear. Not that they are saying what they will do. They want to say what the people want to hear so that they can vote for them. They see every opportunity, they see every platform as opportunity to actually cajole, not convince, cajole the citizens to actually vote for them. And during the event, what we realized is that one thing that is that stood out for me is the fact that now we have competent people going into politics. Competent people going into politics. I'm not saying that they are going to do well because I'm not God. I don't know their mind. But from the way they talk, from how they lay down what they want to do, you will realize that they actually know exactly what the job requires. But one of them, start talking about the fact that he's going to do road, he's going to do this. That is the old mantra. They still, all of them, they still believe that they just have to say all these things. I think it is time that we need to, it is still boiled down to education. We need to educate the citizens, because when they were asking questions, now I was so sad because the question still boils down around, it's not just about not knowing their job description alone, asking for road, asking for water alone, asking for empowerment alone. But some of them are asking questions, they are demanding from them what the governorship candidate will do, what the local government chairman will do. That's what they are asking for. And this, until we are able to solve this, we are able to win this monster of lack of education in terms of politics, because we are talking of market women here. We are talking of, and our education content, when it comes to political education, must be designed in a way that will be inclusive enough. Because most of us, now we are on radio, Mr. Goyega, you can speak Turanshi. In fact, you have blown so many grammars before you started. Lola too, excellent in English. But what about the woman out there selling pepper who doesn't understand English? It's not the fact that they are not educated. If they are not educated, they can't sell pepper. They can't count money. But we need to design our voters' education in such a way that it will be inclusive enough for those people to understand. Because some of these things that we are talking about, Lola mentioned something about we have been taught in school. But do they attend the same school that we attended? No. Do they find themselves in platforms where we have found ourselves? No. So we need to start developing content that will speak to them, to speak to their needs, and educate them the right way. So for me, we still have the mix of the old and the we do for water pump for you and all the rest like that. But a good number of them believes that they are policymakers. And I love one of them that mentioned, he said, it is not that I'm not going to do it for you. It was so blunt. I'm not going to do road for you. I'm not going to do so for you. But let me tell you, I am creative enough to drive, to facilitate. He now started listing all those things that others have listed. To facilitate the road, to facilitate this. And I'm not going to say that it is 100% that we are going to get for you. But the fact that we are not going to get it from the executive doesn't mean that we cannot do PPP. So it was creative enough to come up with those solutions, those sustainable, homegrown solutions. He talks about NGO, working with NGO, because he realized that, he said, it is an NGO that actually organized this one, that the platform they are using now, and they didn't collect any cover from them. So he said he's going to partner with international NGOs, funding NGOs, and the rest of them. When he said that, I was blown away. These are the type of debate, these are type of town hall meetings that we need to start. And again, the citizens too. If our leaders are not creative enough, we can give them ideas. We can sell ideas to them that will bring development to our community.
Olajon, you may be right in saying that the lawmakers themselves contribute to the expectation and the pressure that they do projects, they build roads, and so on and so forth. That they enable this by making promises to their constituents when they are campaigning for vote. You may be right in saying that. But as a people, it has been said that we do not appreciate what we cannot tangibly see.
Okay.
That for us, performance indices are judged by what constructions that we can see with our eyes, edifice, like a building or a road or a bridge, which is why even within the executive, it is said that if a governor or a president wants to show that they have done well, they'll focus on building flyovers and, roads and the likes, that there's not an appreciation for intellectual or the kind of work that lawmakers do, making policies. How do you think that we can go from only seeing the value in what we can physically see to seeing the value in the work of policy making and how important and influential it is?
Yeah, I really love that question, and you have actually laid a very good foundation for this. Yes, I think so that it won't be the same thing I've been saying over and over again. It still boils down to developing a content, educational content, that would let people understand the importance of policy. I agree with you 100% that our people they value something tangible, forgetting the fact that the intangible controls the tangibility. That is the truth. And now, if we are properly educated, if the citizens are well educated in terms of the fact that we have 30 arms of government, this is why you must have executives, and this is the job they are doing. This is the legislator. This is why you must have them. Because if you actually analyze and break it down very well to the people in terms of legislation, what people do in the house, these people, and that policy comes before execution, they will understand the importance of these people. When we let them understand that the government stands on a tripod, they will understand it. It is still the fact that we are still not doing enough to educate the people, and that is why I always love what Splash FM is doing. I'm not saying it because I'm on your radio. Splash FM in your state, Splash FM in Abeokuta. You have always taken time to educate people, but it is not enough. We need to go just dishing out content to the airline. We need to dish. Once they understand, they will not ask for what they they cannot give. That is the fact. We need to start teaching people. Okay, maybe it's placard, just placard. We start putting it in places. Your legislators are not executives. Tell them what executives do and what the judiciary do. Now, I told somebody, I said, there is a name we call those people that are representing us at the House of Assembly. There is a name we call them. We call them Ashofin. They are not Ashofin. We need to start calling them their name. Ashoju, Sheofin. They first have to represent before they can make. It is not law. It is a representation. Because if it is not a representation, we will not have voted them. They can just unpick them and start making the law. They can actually be a lawyer. We can just bring a group of lawyers and start making laws. But because we want them to represent us, so when we use the right word, the people will understand. Hey, Shashofin, I told them on that day that you people are not first Shashofin. You are first representative of the people. And you are meant to blow the trumpet. The trumpet cannot blow itself. It is the people that blows the trumpet. So when the people understand their role, when they know that these people are meant to be dancing in front of them, they are not meant to be dancing in front of these people, then they will understand. It still boils down to political education. We need to develop an homegrown political education curriculum for our people. NOA should do a lot in this context. And INEC should do what they need to do.
All right. We're having a conversation with Ola John this morning Olajon is the executive director at Act Up for Sustainable Development Foundation. And we're talking about the legislative arm of government, especially as it concerns the election, as a precursor as well to our debate on Thursday, where we will be having 4 candidates of 4 different political parties for the Ogun Central Senatorial District here in our studio to, also have a conversation with the people.
Right.
And we hope that hopefully the conversation will be different, like we are talking about, more of policies and some of the laws or bills they intend to push when they get there that will impact their people. And not forgetting their oversight function as well.
Right. And when it comes to lack of political education, I think it may even begin from not knowing who represents you or even what your senatorial district is. A lot of people don't even know what their senatorial district is or where they fall under or where to even look to when they start to think about, who is represented. Because to know who represents you at the House of Representatives or the Senate, you have to first know where you are, like where your constituency is. And then, that's where it begins.
Yeah. For me, I think if you look at most of these legislators at state level, let me just, people say I'm actually emphasizing on these House of Assembly. It's because politics is actually local in nature. Is local. And that's why I still have my question. I keep asking questions about why do we have a senator? Why do we have a senator when we can only see the legislator at state level? Fine, we can have the House of Representatives represent at federal level so that they can be our representatives. But why do we have senators? Because immediately you elect them. In fact, some of them don't even post poster. They will just get in, they will win election on a particular person's tsunami. Like, for example, I'm only using Oyo State as an example. Some of the people at the Houses of Assembly today, they won because Seyi Makinde won the election. That was why they won the election. It is not because of the fact that people know them. They don't know. And now saying that people are now conscious. I need to say this. I think the type of politics that is happening in this 2022-2023 has actually changed a bit. Before we usually have 2 horse race. Now we have like 4 horse race now. Or maybe let me reduce it to 3 horse race in Nigeria today. And now people are now seeing a little deviation because of the input of youth, the consciousness that youth have actually thrown into the race. So it is now important that we need to tell the youth to do what they need to do in order to take back and get to, I told somebody, I said, me too, I will do, one day maybe I will go and contest in my village because they know me there, they know me in my village, they know me very well. People we don't know, we don't need to vote them. Until representing, if anybody is representing you, must be someone you know, someone you can call anytime. But most of these people, they bring them from UK. At least, even in Houses of Assembly today, go and do your research very well. A whole lot of them, they come from UK, Sweden, some of them from America and all the rest like that. Once they lose elections like this, they vanish. And once it's almost time for the election, they come back. So for me, I think in order for us to change the fact that we don't even recognize who our representative is, who our this thing, we need to start organizing our meetings.
Right. Let's get to the phone lines now, Olajon. 0817 444 1067, 0817 555 1067, 0704 400 1067, 0705 050 1067 is how you can join our conversation on the role that legislators play and why they are not as scrutinized as the executive. 0705-050-1067 for WhatsApp is 0817-555-1067. Twitter at Splash FM 1067. Facebook Splash FM 106.7. Balogun from Abeokuta on WhatsApp says, one thing that scares me the most is that virtually all elected political officials, including the legislature, are into politics to enrich themselves. They care less about the electorate. We know them before they got elected, and we see how rich they are after leaving office. The former speaker in this state never had a fuel dispenser before being elected. As of now, he has more than 2 filling stations in Abeokuta alone. May God use us, the electorate, to deliver Nigeria from these selfish politicians.
On Facebook, we have a number of comments here too. I'll start with this one. Where says, "Good morning, radio presenters. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. A day without listening to you is like my day is not complete. Have a smashing and cozy day ahead." Well, thank you very much for the kind words and for always staying with us on Splash FM. Kenny George is asking, he says, can they make some findings as regards the 2-day holiday by the state government? Are private organizations like private schools included, or is it for government establishments alone? Well, it's for civil servants. So that means it's for...
It's at the discretion of your employer. Should they choose to partake, they may.
Good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Tolani from Lafayette speaking.
Please go ahead, Tolani.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Lola. Good morning, Biga.
Good morning, Tolani.
I think the guest over there this morning has actually done a lot of justice to the issue at hand. And I believe that democracy is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. So the people must always be involved in governance. And we should make it a point of duty within ourselves as Nigerians to educate ourselves, especially on the mode of governance as far as the democratic dispensation is concerned. Without education, just as our guest has said, there is nothing we will not be able to achieve anything. We need to keep educating our people that they need to get involved. They need to know the people that are vying for electoral posts, and they need themselves to be involved in the governance. See, one of the problems we have in this country is the legislatures. They are the biggest problem that we have, not really the executives. Because if they are doing their work very well, we will have seen the effect on the level of governance in the country right now. Look at what is happening in the U.S. and other elite countries. Look at the midterm elections that just took place in the United States of America. Look at how contentious it was. It shows that people are actually educated and they know their rights, and they are contributing their bit to make sure that the governance in the country is right. Have a nice day.
All right. Have a nice day yourself. Thank you very much for your contribution. You too can be a part of the program. We have a few more minutes to take calls on this segment of the program before we have to proceed on our first commercial break. And also on Facebook, we have this one here from Odumu Iwaditun. You said, good morning, Lola and Bwega. Though we don't have power, Splash FM comes as a consolation. We acknowledge and appreciate the hard work. Good morning. Good morning to you too, and thank you very much, Olumiwa, for the kind words. And then he continues by saying, okay, let's take this call. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Alaron, calling from Abeokuta.
Alaron, please go ahead.
The way we structured our political environment has given enormous power to the legislature, and that is why we will continue to have problems if there's nothing done in that direction. And the belief in the past politics that masses are just like hen that put meat on the ground, they will just be to get their share of that. And what happened after that, nobody cares about that. You see, some people still oppose that. That is why we are at this. You need to look at what is happening between presidency and the legislature. When it comes to budgeting and some other things, you could realize that during the last budget signing, President Buhari said a lot of things that this budget has been passed. beyond a reasonable extent. But they don't have choice than to sign the budget. Those are, and but they make their thing first line charge, and they get it before others get the something. And what we need to do is that Nigerians should wake up to challenge the legislature about their activities and to try as much as possible to contribute in our own way in order to ensure that we bring these things to the barest minimum. And those resources that go to them enormously can be diverted to what can meaningfully develop our nation at the end of the day. Good morning.
Good morning, Alaro, and thank you for your contribution. Odumiwade Tunji, the rest of your message on Facebook on the topic at hand, media literacy is critical in improving political education. The more informed the people are, the more informed decision they make. Good morning. Shazan Izkaya says, in an anarchical society, they say there is no sin. But what is the matter with us in Nigeria, where we have legislators from federal to local governments without no effect? It's just wasting of vote and money. Suggestions: unicameral should be instantly appraised in no time. Any legislator elected without functioning in any constituency should be booted out through petitions. Well, that's a tough call, really. Constituency project funds must be properly monitored by government through the feedbacks of indigents and physical high of government officials. Legislation is not about supporting the motion, but what matters in constituent area. Well, thank you very much for your contribution.
All right, we can take one more call if we make it a quick one. 0705-050-1067, 0817-444-1067. Or let's just get
Olajon's
concluding
thoughts. In 30 seconds, can you just wrap up this conversation for us, Olajon?
Yeah, I will just take from one of what the caller said. Without political education, we are going nowhere. And it is high time all the legs of sensitization and responsibility start functioning. The media, the civil society, and the government. Thank you very much.
All right, so we'd like to sincerely appreciate you for taking time out this morning. Olajon, Executive Director at Act Hub for Sustainable Development Foundation. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll proceed on our first commercial.